Students, they're like, okay, it's bad here, but like I visited my friend at like this state school and it was terrible there, so like it's not that bad. But I'm like, it's still pretty shitty. I don't know if I can cuss on your voice recording.
That's Charles Andrian, the Assistant Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life at Northwestern University. He's talking about the dangers of assuming that a slightly more diverse student body translates to an equally as diverse Greek culture. It doesn't. Ultimately, what Andrian believes is most needed in affecting change is for people in Greek organizations to have honest conversations about diversity of all types.
I think we're always trying to have conversations with students about the realities of sororities and fraternities and how we were designed and why that needs to change or evolve. I think a lot of our PHA and IFC chapters are talking about financial accessibility, which I think is important because there's a lot of barriers that don't make it accessible to all Northwestern students if they want that as an experience. I think we're also trying to have some conversations with them around like, does this experience need to be that expensive in the first place? And also continuing to challenge them. I think some groups are doing this better than others, but continuing to challenge them to think about how whiteness and heteronormativity show up in the organizations and how they're complicating those things to make space for folks of different identities.
Backing off the last interview I was on.
That's Monica Russell E. Rodriguez. She's the Assistant Provost for Diversity and Inclusion at Northwestern. She's responsible for...
Now check it out. I'm going to take a deep breath. Faculty, staff, students, and alum.
Russell E. Rodriguez argues that diversity simply from a numbers standpoint is not enough.
For me, it's a theory of radical inclusion, and by that I mean having the university and or your sorority think about how is it willing to change. So you don't want to assimilate people into, to use that's a very strong word, but nonetheless you get my point. Like you don't want to assimilate people into your sorority, make them like a more normal, like how is the sorority ready to change, and what's Northwestern ready to do in order to change, and yes, include people but be changed by them.
While Russell E. Rodriguez recognizes the problem and the need for change, both she and Andrian run into the issue of jurisdiction. At the end of the day, while their offices can push and support efforts of diversity and inclusion, it is up to the fraternities and sororities to actually implement the initiatives.
It really isn't our place to be involved at that level, but you know, it's a problem. It's a problem across the nation.
They're responsible for how their organization operates, but ultimately, like, we have only so much power